Somebody thinks that
I promised that we could come back if we had any additional questions or suggestions or comments. This is your time.
On what?
On Thurgood Hermitage.
Okay.
That's what we're on. And this is your time for questions, comments. Anybody?
You gotta go
Miss
around.
Weems. I think, you know what, we're gonna start with Miss Weems.
Yeah.
We're gonna go around. If you don't have anything to say, you can skip your turn, but let's keep our comments to 2 minutes and move on. How's that?
Okay, Tony, the perimeter of where the portables are gonna be, a lady asked in there, and I actually had that down for a question too. I know right now, I think there's chain link fence around everywhere. Can you make sure that that perimeter is a good one and safe and all that good stuff? And the gates are fixed, and everything like that.
Yeah, we know that we've got a couple of holes to plug on the, I'll call it, standing in front on the left side, where there's some adjoining neighbors that need chain link fence. We're also gonna provide chain link fence at the end of the bus queue. I think we showed you that a couple of weeks ago, that'll have a gate, so yes ma'am, we will.
And is that gonna be 6 feet tall?
Fence is 6 feet.
Typically they're 6 feet, yes ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, and then, that seems to be a concern that we heard again tonight, and then also the evacuation plan of, I guess, around 500 of these students. When is, either because of a hurricane, tornado, or any type of active shooter drill or anything where they stay, when is that gonna be practiced? I mean, are we gonna practice that once they get in the building, or?
Come on up.
First off, if there's a hurricane coming, we won't have kids in school, I'm thinking.
That's right. We don't have to worry about
We
hurricanes.
have a lot of notice.
Well, tornado.
Yeah, tornado's different, yeah.
That's, yeah, I
We
mean,
have
tornado.
hurricanes, so-
Yeah, I'm sorry, not hurricane. Hopefully we won't be in school.
All right, we're ready.
Well, when I went to the building with the fire chief, fire captain, he identified locations that can hold 69 classrooms in the hallways. So there's space, also including some rooms that are open. So there's space for 69 classrooms, so there's going to be ample space. There's actually 4 entrances to the building that we use, so that in meeting with, again, Dr. Zingray, she's very confident that she sees the alignment of the building, that she will be able to divide out, just like you do in classroom, in your building, you decide how many students are going to use one exit, and you're going to have a pretty good feel for that. And again, she thinks she can get to the building in under 3 minutes, even if it took 2 more minutes to get into your assembly area in the hallway. That's a high ball estimate. They're going to have ample time. The warnings, we would be able to get students in the building. I feel good about that. And you've got 2 principals who are going to work well together. They're going to have drills together so that they will have this down in practice. So we're in great shape.
But so the plan is to have the drills,
The challenge obviously is you can't
Can't do it.
do it till you have
right,
it in
the
place.
first week, okay. And my last, and my last question, a constituent asked that in there, did y'all look at using, I know you said that the 6th grade, keep the 6th graders there, but put the portables or modular somewhere so they could actually use Pembroke and
Bayside.
Bayside
That was Miss
6.
Guzman.
Yeah. Or is that a
Share 2
possibility?
buildings.
Yeah, share 2 buildings. Is that did y'all look at that, or is that a possibility to look at?
You run into the same problem, and it's the same answer that we gave if you put it at any other campus, quite frankly, is you don't have the shared space within those buildings to do things like share. You don't have a cafeteria, a space large enough for a cafeteria. You don't have a space large enough for gymnasium or for PE. So you just don't have it. It isn't really about, locating 30 portables between those 2 buildings and then just sending all the rest of those kids in those. You don't have all the other space that Hermitage has. That's why Hermitage works in this situation.
In other words, the multi-purpose room.
Yeah, that's
You don't have the
Nobody
multi-purpose
else-
room. You don't have the large music room. Don't necessarily have space for, in this case, we're putting the kindergartners inside the building.
right.
you don't, in no circumstances do we want to put the kindergartners inside of the
Fine.
Bayside
No,
sixth
no,
grade campus.
No way. No.
So, I mean, I just think there's a lot of reasons not to,
Okay.
to look at that.
Okay, well, I just wanted to ask that.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's all I have for now.
Okay, Miss McLeod, you're next.
I'm looking at my notes, but I really don't have anything.
Okay. Miss Rye,
My two questions have been answered.
thank you. Miss Riggs,
The only thing I want to say is, being a teacher in the system, we've always done the drills the first or second week anyway. So it's something that we've got down pat, and teachers have always, the school system, the administrators. When the guy talked about, being in a ship and the time it took, we've got it over top of that. That's something that we time it, and it's one of the things that we look at, how long it took us. And that's just one of the things that, we work very hard at and do a very good job. So I'm not concerned with that. And I know that being the concern that it is, they will do it probably within the first week if they can, I'm sure.
I'm sure it'll be done more than once in the first week.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I
Ms.
just wanted
Melnick.
to commend the collaborative efforts of both schools. That was the most heartwarming part of this whole thing, through this difficult process, is that people stood up and said, we will work together and this will be okay. And hope, I think 2 years will go by quickly and we'll get them back in. And
I did think of something.
okay, then I'll yield my question to you.
It's not a question. I did some figuring. I just wanted to bring up that if we can move on with Princess Anne High School, the same parents who are putting their kids that are in the fourth grade during these 2 portable years will be juniors if we're lucky to get them moved in for their senior year. So these exact same kids are going to go
Right.
through
They brought
this
up last year.
all
But
again.
they're not going to portables.
No, I know that, but I'm just simply
They're
saying.
gonna go through space.
Yeah,
Well,
several parents. brought
I'm
that up.
guessing, and Dan could probably speak to this, that this is not unusual in Virginia Beach. I am thinking
it's
for
not.
probably 20 years, you had kids who probably never saw their actual building because
We
these
didn't
buildings
have
were
swing
being moved
space
so
back then
quickly. But
We didn't have swing space. did
it's
we?
unfortunate, but yeah, that's
it
just the
is.
pattern
I'm
they're
just
in.
pointing that out
Yeah.
because I did okay, thank you, Ms.
Not
Miller.
ideal, but
Mr. McDonald,
I just want to say that I appreciate the time and effort that has gone into updating the plan based
Oh, yeah.
on the feedback we received. I think it is a large improvement, and I'm confident that things will be all right. That the school communities will work well together. I don't think we're skimping on safety. I think the kids will be fine, and I look forward to getting this project done.
I feel that the administration has brought forward a modified plan. Thank you, Tony. The modified plan takes into account covered walkways, centralized restrooms, secured fencing, 6-foot fencing, extra custodial staff. We've heard from dozens of people, including the teachers, several teachers of Thorogood. The teachers have begged us. They said, please move forward. We are ready. We can do this. They practically begged us to go forward with the Learning Village because they know it's the fastest way to get a new school. They feel they're sure that they can get the students to the restrooms and everything, so I'm ready to move forward with this. I think this is the best way to get a brand new school for Thorogood, and I'm confident that they can get those kids into the building if there's a disaster coming, like a tornado. That's the biggest thing, I guess, that they worry about is a tornado. I don't really worry about all the other stuff as much. I know parents were concerned about safety as far as, shooters and that type of thing. Those are catastrophic things. But I, honestly and truly, you all know as well as I do that most of the shootings that have taken place recently have happened in brick and mortar buildings, not in portables. Not that it couldn't happen. I'm just saying, when you're trying to get away from a shooter, being in a brick and mortar building doesn't seem to be any more protection than being in the portable at this point from statistics, what's out there. So My feeling is that we should move forward with this, and we need to give our administration direction on which way we want to go. Ms. Holtz?
I have to weigh in on the fire drills, because I've been through hundreds of them. And the fire marshal will sometimes come into the building, you hear the bell ring, you're unprepared, and they'll stand there with a stopwatch, and we have empty buildings in 2 minutes. It's in the same way, I think it'll be the same way, in fact, easier in the portables, because you have your class, you don't have to run down the hallway, you come out. Anyhow, I don't think that's a real concern, but you practice, so kids know exactly where to go. But I'm really pleased. I've spoken to a lot of teachers, and they're ready to move forward. And also teachers from, I wish we had more teachers from Hermitage making the Thurgood teachers feel that they are welcome. I know that will happen, and I'm hoping they will come forward and say more. But yes, I'm excited about the new developments, and I'm ready to go.
Ms. Felton?
I just have to say this has been a interesting venture, and as a school board member, when it comes to any type of change, you see people act in different ways. As a school board member, it's not my job or my aspiration to incite fear or confusion or deception. It really is to actually take those parents by the hand and reassure them that what we are doing is in your best interest. And as a grandmother of children that are in the Virginia school system, matter of fact, my grandson was over at Salem when the incident happened, and he called me, main thing, and we communicated. And I know that fear. I know what it's like. Was not minimizing or marginalizing any of the parents' thoughts. But when emotions get involved, we can lose our moral compass and say a lot of things that shouldn't be said, and you can't take them back. And things are put out in the air that can make it look one-sided. I just like to say that the same teachers who cared and loved and taught these students in Thurgood are going to be the same teacher that goes into the portables, that's going to have the same care and the same love and same passion. And that was one of the things that I held on to. And I like what Mark Nelson said. He was saying that the teachers are going to do that, and we're going to be there to make sure that it happens. And we're only human. We can't predict. If I could predict every storm and every catastrophe that was coming, yeah, I would, be ready for it as well. So we have to move out as humans first, and then try to embrace the thoughts of every humankind, and then move forward. But I want to say to Tony and his team, I do appreciate what you've done and how you come back and reassured us about things, every question we asked. I know some of them were redundant too, getting duplication of things, but as parents, we're acting as parents as well. And I felt the pain of the other parents, so I wanted to know that. So I think all the work that's been put into it, it's not just redundant or just out there. I really do appreciate it, and I thank all of the administration behind me for all that they've done. But as a school board member, we just need to take these parents by the hand and assure them, we feel you, we hear you, and I appreciate every comment that was made, because it let me know what I need to prepare for. Change is hard. Changing and getting out of your safety zone, your comfort zone is hard. But I just want to say thank you to all of my colleagues for the collaboration that we had to make sure this goes forward. Thank you.
Mr. Edwards?
I want to thank the administration for looking at the modulars. I'm hopeful that we will not use them. I think it would send a very inappropriate message to our stakeholders about the efficacy of using portable classrooms. I'm very hopeful that in 10, 15, 20 years, we're down to maybe a couple dozen portables total across the city, and all the rest of them have gone away. I am actually excited by the fact that we are uprooting the lowest priority 40-some portables and putting them at Hermitage, because there's a secondary benefit there. those principals who have enjoyed having that extra spot that they probably didn't really need are going to learn to live without it. And when Hermitage is done, hopefully they either go to the dump or they go get sold on a secondary market, and our inventory is reduced by that 40. And that would be a significant savings because those portables are very expensive to operate and maintain. So that's a secondary one, and again, I think spending that $800,000 extra is not appropriate, and the message is even worse.
Ms. Manning, you get the last word.
Oh, wonderful. Someone else.
Oh.
She gets the last word.
I will battle her.
Could you, Tony, emailed me the presentation that gave the updates of how many extra custodian administrative, I wasn't fast enough writing that all down so that I can speak to that.
We posted, don't we?
I'll do this tomorrow.
Okay. And then regarding the tornado evacuations, I mean, I know it sounds like you're comfortable with it. I get that. I appreciate that. But me telling the families, hey, they feel good about it, isn't going to be a good enough answer. Could we get a written plan, kind of what we think it might look like going into the 4 doors?
And again, that's something that the building principal puts together.
Okay.
They'll ask us to review, take a look at it, but, they own that building and they own the procedures, and Dr. Ziegler was real clear that I've got this.
So I think that if we could get it in writing and we could give it, that way we can say, hey, we have a plan other than just, yeah, it's going to work. I think that would be beneficial.
Is it reasonable to say that at the beginning of the year with an orientation, the parents' night, that's when it's, because the portables have to be there. They have to be on site so they can say, these 15 are going in this store and they're going to go in this. And so until they're actually all there, it'll be difficult to produce one right now. I really get that. But I think that what I'm hearing Vicki say is we want to make sure that as soon as they're starting school, that parent welcome back kind of thing, we make them feel so really good about it.
I think we also know that people trust Dr. Z, as they call her.
Well, so let the
okay.
community know that she is going to be the one that's going to come up with
Yes.
the plan,
Yep.
so that she's the point of contact.
Standard,
Right now, they
that's
don't
standard
do that.
across the
So,
system.
okay.
Principals do
Okay,
that.
great. And then I just wish we had had these conversations last fall, and we could have prevented a lot of headaches. So I hope that's a lesson learned.
Ms.
Yeah,
Weems?
Yeah, I was gonna kind of say that and just ask Dr. Spence, the next time we change the student body, a significant number of people, that we learn from this and we really get the word out for us so that we can be intelligent with our constituents, but so that parents feel like they had input and that parents don't feel like they were belittled by some of their comments, because I know that parents do during this process. And so I just want us to really, because if this was ended up being so healthy, and I applaud my colleague Vicki, because she started asking tough questions right away, and I did, and some of us were belittled by our colleagues and the bad guys, but I think it ended up being very healthy, and we got some great, feedback, and Tony did a wonderful job answering all the questions, and we made it a better place. I mean, this is gonna be now a better place because we've added stuff to it. So I just want the next time that we do it, like this process, getting input, but do it 7, 8, 9 months in advance.
So are we of the consensus that we all sound like, to me, like we've reached a consensus that we're all going to move forward with the portable village?
With the addition of the
With the addition of the covered walkways and
as presented.
as presented tonight,
Right.
correct? Am I correct with that? So could I just see a show of hands on a straw poll here so that we see who is in favor of moving forward with the Learning Village at Hermitage?
I would just like to say something. I think that if we're gonna vote, we should just go vote.
I think we need, we don't normally vote, that's not our normal
Well, I'm
procedure,
not
because
gonna
we're gonna do a
participate in
straw poll right
so
now,
my hand's
so.
not gonna go up either.
Okay, well, you don't have to show support one way or the other, that's your prerogative, but however, you can vote against it if you so choose. However, I would like to see a show of hands for those who are in favor of moving forward with the portable learning village at Hermitage.
There were two proposals, though. One was with the,
I'm asking for that now, for the portable learning village.
We're talking about the one with the portables.
right, okay.
Not
Okay.
the modulars.
So, portable learning village. Okay, opposed?
Well, it's not a vote, so we'll take it as a, those are our
Majority of
marching,
the board
Yeah, move on.
says move forward. So, Dr. Spence, you
those
have,
are our marching orders, thanks.
yeah, thank you. And we are adjourned.
Oh, we're not gonna talk about CIP?
Oh, I'm sorry, I do have one question. No,
Are we gonna do CIP now? I forgot that we did.